Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, September 24th, 2015. I'm Lauren Fraser with the details. There is no politics in this demand being made for a 1-month tax-free salary for public servants here. This was pointed out by President of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, who told SVG-TV News today that the remarks being made by some politicians that the teachers of this country and its union are playing politics is nonsense. Robinson says it is instead the politicians who are playing politics with a matter where the union is standing up for the rights of its members.
Because the teachers union stood up to defend the rights of his membership, I can understand why only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines the politicians would want to describe teachers as playing politics. There's no politics in this. We started to talk in December 2014. We wrote the Prime Minister in January of 2015. Then we had a discussion by the end of the fourth quarter. He said he missed the deadline. We met in July. We had a conversation. And then it was the end of July that we had another meeting. And then we decided we're not going to have any more conversation on this matter until we report to our membership. And that is what we have done. Now the membership gave a mandate to demand this money. So the leadership must listen to the membership and not the politicians.
Commenting on the proposed $25 increase for persons on the public assistance program, Robinson says he is pleased that more destitute persons can get a break. However, teachers and other public servants should not be forgotten in the process and must get a break also.
Well, I'm happy that the poor people in this country really getting that money. It should have been more. I wish the government could have given them more. You know, that 25% increase, I say congratulations to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know the poor people in this country, they deserve better. But at this time, I'm happy that they could receive something. So I want to congratulate the donor, who is the government, and the recipient, who are the poor people of this country. But we have to also say to the government, what is our share? We need our portion also. So there needs to be equity right across the board.
And Robinson says teachers in this country will continue to wear black wristbands to show their dissatisfaction of not being given the 1-month tax-free salary as requested by the union. He notes that teachers in the country are becoming poorer and are mourning.
This black wristband that we are wearing is another decision that came out of our branch day. When that resolution was passed, the membership took a decision that every teacher who really wants the 1-month salary non-taxable payment must wear a black wristband. And this is symbolizing that we are united to advocate for this 1-month payment. And if you notice, we use a color, so nobody can say we're using any party color. Okay? We are using a black. It signifies also that we are mourning because we have become poorer. The government has made us poorer, and therefore we are wearing this black armband. And we know that the time of reckoning is coming very closely, where the workers in this country would show to the government that we are serious.
Local barrister at law Roderick Jones says that the recent demand for a 1-month's tax-free salary in lieu of a wage increase by public servants is a very reasonable request. Speaking on last Sunday's Hit Stock program, Jones applauded the public servants for putting up with the wage freeze since 2011 and urged the respective unions to keep pushing for their demand to be met, since according to him, the current administration has been what he terms as disrespectful in its failure to properly communicate on the issue.
It is not a request for an increased, it's a request for 1-month non-tax salary. That's how I understand it. I am very annoyed. What I'm annoyed with, though, is the approach that the government has used in dealing with these discussions with the representative from the respective unions. To say that you are not at all prepared to entertain any discussions, to me is tantamount to disrespect. And I think what should have happened is that there should have been a sit down between the representative and the government, and they try to explore creative ways of dealing with the requests that the unions were proposing. And as I said, it's unacceptable that you say, you know what, we are not at all going to pay you anything, as opposed to let us see what we can come up with so that we can address that particular concern that you have. It's a reasonable request.
And President of the Public Service Union, Elroy Boucher, says that for the Prime Minister to say the government cannot afford to give the workers the 1 month tax-free salary without trying to have a discussion with them by shutting them down will not go on any longer. He says that for too long they have sacrificed, and they're not going to wait until the elections has passed to have the issue dealt with.
It is becoming more and more difficult as we go ahead for us to meet our basic needs, and it is necessary, very necessary, for there to be some financial relief, very necessary. Whether the Prime Minister wants to pay it in one time or different installments, he needs to come up with a plan and put it to the union. To say that you cannot afford isn't acceptable. There has to be a way to get something done, whether it is staggered over a period, or whether you want to come to the table with a discussion of paying half. You must bring something to the table. And at this stage, we're not hearing anything that is being put forward but the simple statement that it cannot be done. Prime Minister, the unions, the Public Service Union, the Teachers Union, we are not going to accept what you are saying, and therefore the demand must be met that some financial relief must be given, and given before elections.
Public Relations Officer of the SVG-TU, Wendy Bino, says the government needs to channel some of the large amounts of money spent elsewhere to pay public servants what they deserve. She further notes that industrial action is still legal in SVG, and that teachers and all other public servants need to prepare themselves to correct the injustice done to them.
It's ironic probably to say that this year marks 40 years since the 1975 teachers' strike, and here we are 40 years later, struggling, and the struggle continues. Our teachers and public service workers have sacrificed through almost 5 years of wage freeze. Our purchasing power has been significantly eroded, and we know that the 1 month would act as an economic stimulus. When workers earn more money, they're likely to spend it, pouring more dollars into the economy. We also know that industrial action is still legal in St. and Grenadines. It can range from sick-outs to a full-blown strike. And we are calling on the government to rechannel some of the funds, spend somewhere else, to pay our teachers and public servants this 1 month. We ultimately have the power to ensure we get this money, and so we are calling our members to ready themselves, because we need to get this money.
Amidst the claims by the unions that the government is being unreasonable in denying them the 1 month tax-free salary, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says that he wants the public to determine whether or not it is a good idea to pay the money to the public servants in these circumstances of global meltdown, which he says have affected SVG adversely. According to Dr. Gonsalves, the country is currently dealing with the impacts of the world economic crisis and recovery of storms from Thomas in 2010 to the present. Hence, the government is not in a position to meet the demand of the public servants.
As a matter of a side note, I was the first person at University of the West Indies at Cape Hill, Barbados, to teach a course in industrial relations and personnel management. So that's the first thing in terms of the cost. All right. And we must remember this, that when the teachers came to me, the teachers and the public servants came originally, they came with a kind of a back of the envelope proposal. They didn't even have a proposal. And they were talking about half salary for those above a particular grade and a full salary for those below. And if I could give consideration for I said, well, listen, you all don't have the proposal. I said, where is it? They said they were just writing it. As I say, back of the envelope, not the other piece of paper. At least the person was speaking on their behalf. And I said, put the proposal now. And I'll see it. Then when the proposal came, it metamorphosed into a full month's salary for everybody and tax-free.
Furthermore, the Prime Minister says that the request is just not reasonable or sustainable to the Vincentian economy, adding that $25 million in 1 month is too overwhelming. He says that though the public servants use the high cost of food as an agreement to get their money, there is evidence of a decrease in the cost of food and even gasoline here.
To get in a month, $25 million for the salaries, $25 million for that 1 month. Huh? Now, how do they, and given the fiscal situation which we have presented, how could anybody reasonably say that that is something which can possibly be sustainable? Then no, let me say this further.
Okay, go ahead.
And what the press need to do when it is said that prices have gone up so much over the years and so on, the truth of the matter is this. In some years, recently, prices have gone down.
Yes.
Including fuel,
right,
which has affected every single area of the cost of living. And if you want to check out the consumer price index, all they have to do is to go by the statistical office. Bones is a man who deals with these all the time because he does a lot of negotiations, not one set, and he could talk to you about that. I don't even have to tell you what he will say because he will know what the facts are because he researches it down.
The Minister of Agriculture is dedicating this year's World Food Day celebrations here to the people of Dominica. Yesterday, the Ministry of Agriculture and its various other partners held a media conference to officially launch the activities that would be held here in commemoration of World Food Day. Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar says that the situation in Dominica is a very serious one and that it has a lesson for Vincentians here in SVG to appreciate how fortunate we are and that we should try to make the most of the upcoming activities. The 2015 World Food Day theme is Social Protection and Agriculture, Breaking the Cycle of Rural Poverty, as chosen by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, with its aim to highlight the importance in reducing rural poverty and granting access to food or means to buy food. According to Minister Caesar, social protection can be defined as a range of solutions such as work opportunities, provision of food, money and services that are designed to support the vulnerable and help the poor in society move out of hunger and poverty. He noted that food production is a way of life that fuels both the people of SVG and the economy.
You have far less or little traffic of produce from the rural areas, and we're here to discuss the issue of rural poverty, going into the urban areas. And in conversation with the Chief Agriculture Officer, he said to me that the traffickers will not be able to export anything from Dominica not until about April or May of 2016. So that is why I said it's very sobering for me, because as we celebrate World Food Day and as we postulate a lot of the positive things that we are doing here, we have to remember that our brothers and sisters, our OECS and CARICOM brother, sister island, that they are going through a very serious problem.
Chief Agricultural Officer Ashley Kane says that he is happy that this year's focus of World Food Day is on a critical set of issues having severe consequences on people, which he hopes will be able to improve the health of Vincentians and the capacity of the agriculture sector.
So I look forward during this World Food Day campaign or celebration for us to shine a light, to probe a little bit, to understand a little bit better within the context of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Are there social protection or social related issues which need to be addressed to ensure that every child who wakes up in the morning has access to nutritious food that is sustainable, that as a farming community, because of the need to feed and the linkages which are established, we have good, strong and vibrant agricultural communities within which people can live and thrive and prosper. So from my perspective as Chief Agricultural Officer, that's my hope and my vision and my wish, that in this year when we focus on social protection, we build the capacity of our people to have stronger, better, vibrant and healthy communities through our own investments and the efforts which we make as farmers and as people who operate within the agricultural value chain.
The 2015 VINLEC National Science and Technology Fair was launched yesterday at the Curriculum Unit under the theme Scientific and Technological Literacy, an Imperative for a Green Vincentian Society in the 21st Century. Addressing the gathering was Education Officer for Science, Amala Mohammed, who says that science and technology is the driving force for sustainable development and will help this country be more competitive.
The importance of science and technology to our society cannot be overstated. Science and technology are important for the economic, social, and political development of modern societies such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They are therefore the driving force for long-term sustainable development. And that's what we are talking about as St. Vincent and the Grenadines moves forward and becomes a green economy. Therefore, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines to survive as a knowledge-based society in the global marketplace of skills, which is an ever-changing environment in this 21st century, we must develop competitive economies.
Deputy Chief Education Officer Beverly Neptune commended the various persons for coordinating the event and for sponsoring the science fair, which she says will help students develop a passion for the subject.
Provide opportunity for collaboration and for teamwork among students and teachers. 2. Provide a satisfactory forum and opportunity for healthy competition on the individual and also on the institutional level. 3. Focus attention on future scientists as it highlights their inventiveness, their creativity and innovation. 4. Give public recognition to students for the work they have done. Very often we fail to do so, or I should say that we don't do that often enough. So students, here's the opportunity for the rest of St. Vincent and the world to see what your talents look like in the area of science.
And Chief Executive Officer or CEO of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Electricity Services Limited VINLEC, Thornley Myers, commended the organizers of the science fair and says his company is proud to be part of the initiative. Myers called on science teachers to continue to come up with creative ways to teach the subject so that they would see how science can be applied to everyday life.
I'm sure many of you could go to offices throughout this country and see the amount of photocopiers that are shown now in corners all over the country. And I venture to say many of them are just missing a simple part. But we have to know what that part is, and we have to be able to maintain them. Because the next step we take is to buy a new one. And I believe in many instances our inability to manage the technology forces us into a position where we are spending more than we need to spend because we cannot maintain what we currently have, or we don't have the knowledge to maintain and to make the best use of what we have. So clearly we believe that the teaching and promotion of science education can create an atmosphere where we can better utilize the scarce resources that we have as a country.
10 students will tomorrow compete in the finals of the local leg of the court reading competition. The finalists are Jedelia Chambers of the Barely Government School, Shaquan Sam of the Langley Park Government, Azalis James of the Lourdes Primary, Brianna David, Cane End Government, Christy Oliver of the Paget Farm Government, and Caitlin Polias of the Windsor Primary. The other finalists are Nadira Morgan of the Kingstown Preparatory, Janos Lucas of the Calicoa Anglican, Saskia Trusho, Sugar Mill Academy, and Joel Campbell of the Spring Village Methodist. The finalists will take place, at French's House beginning at 9 a.m. The court's reading competition is into its 7th year, and the winner of the local leg will travel to Dominica to compete in the regional leg of the court's OECS reading competition. Last year's winner of the local leg was Rihanna Harry of the Windsor Primary School. A jail term of 2 years was today handed down to Ronald Maturin, a laborer of Calder, when he appeared at the Serious Offences Court and pleaded guilty to 3 separate charges of possession of ammunition and damage to property and theft. The court heard on June 21, 2015, Mission John of Diamond parked his car in the vicinity of Rubis gas station at Arnis Vale and went to a friend's home. He is said to have returned the following day and discovered that the right rear window of the vehicle was broken. After checking the vehicle, he discovered that the vehicle was broken into and several items were missing, including a cell phone, iPad, plane ticket, and other items. Maturin was intercepted at the Calder Public Road on June 23, 2015, with the stolen items and 14 rounds of .38 ammunition.